Sit down. Let me tell you about a man named Raymond and what two officers did to him on a Tuesday night on a highway outside Fort Meridian in front of God and everybody. Raymond had just left the base. No uniform, no rank. Just a man in a dark sweater and dark trousers, driving a clean black sedan at exactly the speed limit. Windows up, music off, hands at 10 and 2, the way his father taught him 40 years ago. The lights came on behind him before he even saw the cruiser. He pulled over immediately. Smooth, no hesitation, hands visible on the wheel before the officer even reached the window. Officer Briggs appeared at the glass, young, jaw tight, the kind of energy that walks into a situation already decided. License and registration. No greeting, no reason given. Just the demand, flat and sharp. Raymond reached slowly into the glove compartment, produced both documents, held them out with 2 fingers, the way you do when you've done this before, and you know exactly how it needs to look. Briggs took them without looking at Raymond, walked back to the cruiser. 3 minutes passed, then 5, then Briggs came back, and this time, Officer Cole was with him, standing back, arms crossed, watching. "Step out of the vehicle, sir." Raymond looked at him steadily. "Can I ask what this is about?" "Step out of the vehicle." Raymond opened the door slowly, stood on the asphalt in the cold night air, hands visible, back straight. Briggs looked him up and down. Then he smiled, the kind of smile that isn't really a smile. "You people are all the same," he said, loud enough for the cars slowing down on the highway to hear. "Always acting like the rules don't apply." Raymond said nothing. He just looked at Briggs with eyes that had seen 31 years of things most men never see, and waited. He was good at waiting. But what Officer Briggs did next, that was something else entirely. Briggs took his phone out, not a department radio, not a notepad, his personal phone. He held it up and started recording Raymond, standing there on the side of that highway in the cold night air, hands visible, back straight, saying nothing. "Look at this," Briggs said to Cole, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Thinks he's somebody special. Probably stolen vehicle. Probably got warrants." Cole shifted uncomfortably behind him. Raymond's jaw tightened slightly, just slightly. "Sir," Briggs said, stepping closer, "I'm going to need you to put your hands on the hood of the vehicle." Raymond looked at him for a long moment. Then he placed both hands flat on the hood. The metal was cold under his palms. He noticed that, the way you notice small things when everything else is loud. "Now kneel down." Raymond turned his head slowly. "There's no reason for that. I said kneel down, or I can make this a lot harder for you." A woman had stopped her car across the highway, was filming on her phone. 2 more cars slowed. Someone honked. Whether in support or frustration, it was hard to tell. Raymond knelt on the asphalt in his civilian clothes on a Tuesday night outside Fort Meridian. 31 years of service, 2 combat deployments, the Distinguished Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, 4 commendations for valor under fire. Kneeling on a highway because a 28-year-old officer with a phone decided tonight was the night to make an example of somebody. Briggs laughed softly. Cole looked away. "See," Briggs said to nobody in particular, "that's how it works. You follow instructions, everybody goes home safe." Raymond said nothing. He looked straight ahead at the asphalt beneath him. And in the quiet behind his eyes, behind the stillness, behind the patience, behind 31 years of learning exactly when to speak and when to wait, He made a decision. Not an angry decision. Not a desperate one. A calm one. The kind of decision that changes everything and takes about 4 seconds to make. Raymond stood up slowly, not defiantly, not dramatically, just a man getting back on his feet the way he always had, one deliberate movement at a time. Briggs stepped forward. "I didn't say you could. I need to make a phone call," Raymond said quietly. "You don't get to..." "Officer..." Raymond's voice didn't rise, didn't shake. It just landed, solid and final, like something dropped from a great height. "I'm going to make one phone call. You can stand right here while I do it." Something in Briggs's expression shifted. Not much, just enough. Raymond reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, dialed a number from memory. No searching, no scrolling. A number he had called hundreds of times. It rang twice. "Now, before I tell you who picked up on the other end of that call, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been on your knees when you knew you didn't belong there? Drop it in the comments." Because what Raymond said in the next 30 seconds, nobody on that highway was ready for it. A voice answered. "Sergeant Major Hayes." "Hayes," Raymond said, his voice completely level. "This is General Raymond Cole. I'm on Highway 9 outside the East Gate. I need you to contact Colonel Price and tell him I'll be late for the morning briefing. And Hayes, make sure the MP unit knows my location." A pause. "Yes, sir." "Right away, sir." Raymond ended the call, put the phone back in his pocket, and looked at Officer Briggs. Briggs hadn't moved. Cole hadn't moved. Nobody on that highway had moved. The woman still filming across the road lowered her phone slightly, then raised it back up. Briggs's mouth opened, then closed. "General," he said. The word came out small, uncertain, like he wasn't sure he was allowed to say it. Raymond looked at him with the patience of a man who had been waiting for exactly this moment for the last 40 minutes. "That's correct," he said simply. The military police unit arrived in 4 minutes. 2 vehicles, lights on, no sirens. They parked behind Briggs's cruiser with the kind of precision that only comes from people who do things correctly the first time. Sergeant Major Hayes stepped out first. He looked at Raymond, then at Briggs, then at the asphalt where Raymond had been kneeling 10 minutes ago. His expression didn't change, but his eyes said everything. Colonel Price arrived 2 minutes after that, personally, which was the kind of thing that didn't happen unless something had gone very wrong or someone very important was involved. In this case, both. Price looked at Raymond with the particular expression of a senior officer who has just understood the full scope of a situation and is already calculating what comes next. "General Cole," he said, with the kind of formality that carries its own apology inside it. "Sir." "Colonel," Raymond replied simply. Price turned to Briggs. Briggs had gone the color of the asphalt. Cole, Officer Cole, had taken 3 quiet steps backward and was now standing at a distance that said, "I was never really part of this." "Officer," Price said to Briggs, his voice completely flat. "Your badge number." Briggs gave it. His voice cracked on the last digit. "You'll be hearing from the department's oversight board," Price said, "and from our legal office, and from mine." He paused. "Do you understand what that means?" Briggs nodded. He didn't look at Raymond. Raymond didn't need him to. He walked back to his sedan, slowly, straightened his sweater, and looked out at the highway where 3 cars had stopped, and at least 4 phones were still recording. Sergeant Major Hayes appeared at his shoulder. "Sir, do you need anything?" Raymond thought about it for a moment. "No," he said. "I have everything I need." He got back into his car, started the engine, and pulled back onto the highway at exactly the speed limit. Windows up, music off, hands at 10 and 2. Behind him, the lights of the police cruiser and the MP vehicles shrank in the rearview mirror. In front of him, Fort Meridian, the base he had commanded for 6 years. The men and women who called him sir. The office with his name on the door and 31 years of service on the wall. He didn't rush to get there. He never did. Raymond never filed a formal complaint. He didn't need to. The footage from 4 different phones was already online before he reached the base. The department opened an internal investigation before sunrise. Officer Briggs was suspended with pay pending review. Officer Cole was reassigned. And the woman who had filmed from across the highway, she posted one sentence with the video. "I don't know who this man is, but I know what I saw." 31 years of service, 2 combat deployments, medals that most people will never earn and wouldn't understand if you explained them. And on a Tuesday night on Highway 9, none of that was visible. Just a black man in a dark sweater, pulled over for no reason, kneeling on asphalt because someone decided he looked like he didn't belong. That's the thing about dignity. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. It just sits there, quiet, patient, immovable, waiting for the moment when the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Raymond knew who he was on that highway. He knew it when he pulled over. He knew it when he placed his hands on the hood. He knew it when he knelt on the cold asphalt and looked straight ahead and said nothing. He didn't need Briggs to know it. He didn't need Cole to know it. He didn't need any of those cameras to know it. He already knew. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to prove who you were to someone who had already decided what you were? Tell me in the comments, because Raymond's story is not just his story. It belongs to every person who has ever been reduced to less than what they are by someone with a little bit of power and a lot of assumptions. And if this story moved something in you, subscribe. Brother Marcus will be back. There are more stories to tell. Stories about the people who get pushed down and stand back up. Every single time. With patience, with purpose, and with the quiet certainty of a man who drives home at exactly the speed limit, because he has nothing to prove to anyone, and never did.